Hey True Seekers, it's Carolyn here, and we have a guest today. So we're going to be reviewing this game that we found. So this is our friend. He created this game called Charmakards, and so this is something that he did. He actually commented on one of our videos, asked us to review his game. So we met up today, and we've been playing it. We've played a couple rounds so far. It's awesome, and we just wanted to get you to talk about it. So you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. So my name is Jeremiah. I designed and created this game, and I've been running it now. And it's a biblical trading card game that's designed to be non-religious in the gameplay. So there's a lot of non-believers that play it, but all the cards come from biblical sources. So every card you'll have will come from the Old or New Testament of the Bible.
Awesome. So how long has this been in existence?
2020, late 2020 is when I released it, and it was pretty much a casual thing that I was doing on my own. But then here recently, I've got a lot of support and a lot of players that have gotten into the game and really built a community. So now I'm actually getting ready to release a second set this summer with brand new cards.
Awesome. And so you had mentioned earlier when we were talking that you've done a couple tournaments so far. How many tournaments have you guys had?
I've had like 10 or 12 tournaments. I've had about 4 a year. So I've had some classic format tournaments and advanced, as well as a couple teams and a booster draft tournament last year that went pretty well.
Very cool. So go ahead and explain kind of the elements of the card game for us.
Okay. So I'll move these to the side for now.
Okay.
So each deck consists of two different things. You have your support cards, which is what your deck consists of mainly, and then creatures. So creatures will have a health and attack. And the goal of the game is to get rid of all 3 or 5 of your opponent's creatures by reducing their health to 0, sending them to the grave. And then you have support cards that will add different sort of boosts and things that add mechanically to your creature. So for example, if I have a creature out here like Michael, and I've got my deck of cards and I'm drawing through them, I can play cards like First Light that boost its health. Or I can play cards like Eden that let me restore health. There are also cards that have an attack, like this card, Furno Sword, and so I could use it to attack her cards or her creature. And then I have cards like Tsunami that would give me defense. And so essentially you're building the stats up of your creature while you're trying to get rid of the cards your opponent has and attack until they reach 0.
Okay, and then tell us about these chips and the extras that come along with it. So it's more than just the deck itself.
Right, so the Widow's Mites is what I call them for what you use for your health, attack, and defense. You can use anything, but predominantly I use chips. So I have these Charmakards chips, which are pretty fancy, pretty cool. They're very...
Apparently they have a metal core to them, which we were both kind of surprised by.
Yeah, they're very aesthetic texturally. And so like, for example, for Michael, if it has 10 health, I would use 10 chips here, and it has 5 attacks, so I would use 5 red chips here for its attack.
Which is also very visual for your opponent as well.
Exactly.
Which is nice.
It really lets you see how high or how low it is. And then you have cards that might give you a defense, which is an additional mechanic. So I have blue chips that would add to that.
Awesome. So let's see. So let's say I wanted to play. What would I need to do so? So if I was just getting started and I want to just play a game with somebody, what all would I need to do that?
Well, you would need 1 deck per player. And so I have these pre-constructed standard decks. They're very easy to play generally, and they're actually fairly competitive, about the 70% range as far as what goes on in the meta currently. And then you would need a set of mats. So I sell starter kits for like $5. It's got 2 paper mats and reference sheets that shows you everything on the card. But the decks also come with instructions inside. Or you could go all out and buy these fancy neoprene play mats. So.
These are always my favorite just because they're more durable. You're not having the crinkling and the...
And they're machine washable.
Exactly.
I don't know if I would, but they are.
Yeah, so we have washed one of these that has like the border on it, and we accidentally got one of these kind of wet and like of our card game, and this one didn't hold up so well because it's this, but these ones actually did.
Yeah, the stitched edge.
So yeah, stitched edge is totally worth it. So let's see. So if we wanted to play a round, so let's just kind of make a mock round here so they can see. So, and each one of these comes with basically everything you need, except for like the chips and stuff. So that's cool. And it kind of tells you like what comes in it, tells you how to get more. Love these boxes.
And you can use anything for the chips. A lot of players actually use D12s or D20s. When I started playtesting, I used like cereal. I used literally Fruit Loops to test.
Awesome.
But I always lost against my sister because I was hungry because I was like 19, 20 years old.
So when we first started playing Animo, we had those little Moncala beads.
Yeah,
That's what we would use and stuff. And then we had
Those are
D20s
cool.
because it's 60 points to win in Animo. So we would have 3 D20s, and that's how we would
Right.
count our score. And it was really frustrating because it was like you'd be sitting there looking forever because I don't know
find
how to
it, yeah.
read a D20 because that was my
Yeah.
first experience. I was just like, where is the 19? Oh yeah, my finger's covered, you know.
That's 90% of the reason I use chips.
Yeah, I can understand that. All right, so I'll just throw out a character here, and then so it's 5 cards in hand when you first start.
Yep. And there's no maximum hand size, and it ends up not really being an issue either. It's really just nice to not have a hand size limit.
Right.
So each player, they would keep track of their stats for the opponent to see what's going on. And each player gets 2 moves. So they can either play 2 support cards from their hand. They can replay support cards in play as well to get the effect in additional time, or they can attack with their creature. So for example, with the cards I have in hand, I might play First Light to boost my health by 2. And Michael has an ability that my yellow cards get an increase of 1. So I'd actually get 3 health. So
Nice.
that would be nice. That would be some form of synergy. And then I'd say for the second move, in this case, I'd probably attack for 5.
Right.
So Goliath would simply lose 5 health, and then my turn would be up, so it would go to her.
So I would draw at the beginning of my turn, and then so you only draw 1 card unless you have something else that gets you to draw more.
Exactly.
Okay. And so, for example, his effect says blue card effects have no effect on Goliath, yours or otherwise.
Mm-hmm.
So if I were to build my own deck, which you can do, correct? You can mix and match.
Mhm.
So I would probably just build this deck, based on what I have here. I'd probably less blue cards.
Exactly.
Because obviously they're not going to work for this character, but they might do something for my others.
Right.
So I'm probably, like for example, Shining Light wouldn't do any good for me because it says boost the effect of any blue cards. Well, he's not going to do anything, so this card's not going to be any good for me.
Right.
But I could do. So these cards draw me stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I could do like Crop Burn, attack all opponents that have green cards in play. You don't have any green cards in play, but you did say that there can be a 4-person variant, or
Right.
3 or 4-person
So
variant.
if somebody did have green cards out in play,
it would attack them.
it would attack them.
Gotcha.
Yep.
Okay.
And what's cool is since you only get 2 actions per turn, there are these dependent cards that have effects that activate for free based off of the condition. So that says if they have green cards. So every turn for free outside of the 2 moves, this will hit again, which really helps you board build and get the attacks off that you need.
Absolutely. Now, does this only attack green cards, or does it attack the player that has the green cards? So
The
their
player
character?
that has the green cards.
Okay, so it would go towards their character.
Yeah, so they would lose.
Okay, gotcha. All right. And then, and for my second, I would probably just
Attack.
attack you
And
for
that'd be
second.
a lot, so 1, 2, 4.
Right. Awesome.
Yeah.
So that is kind of how a turn would go. And each of the creatures have like their special abilities, which is awesome. Wildly different in. So how did you actually come up with like the health and defense, health and attack of the characters?
Like for what, like for each card, how did I decide?
Yeah.
I don't know. So it kind of varies. So for example, I made Michael as one of the first cards, and it was 10-5 because the numbers just seemed to fit well.
Right.
And he's an angel, so he's not dying. So 10 health made sense.
Right.
So then when I made a card like Gabriel doesn't see really any action, right? So he only has 7 health and he only has 2 attack. And so to make up for it, his ability is that you can search your deck for a green card, which lets you restore health or revive creatures.
Yeah.
But what you have to do to meet the requirement is you reveal your hand to an opponent the same way Gabriel reveals information throughout
Very
the
cool.
Bible. So that's how I've come up with numbers like that.
Very cool. So, and you had mentioned earlier that you do all the artwork yourself at this point.
Correct.
Which is really cool. And you showed us some of your stuff that's going to be coming out soon, which is it's awesome. Really
Thanks.
enjoy this, and really happy you came across our page and reached out to us, which is really cool because he's actually here in Ohio with us. So it was like, hey, we're not that far from each other. Let's talk. So that was really cool that we got to meet up in person. really looking forward to doing some reviews of this.
Mm-hmm.
So what you can expect in the future is that we're going to be doing some reviews of this game as well. That was always kind of the intent of our page anyway, was to review multiple Christian card games. And so this is kind of our first experience getting to actually do that. So yeah, thank you so much for that opportunity for us. Really looking forward to do some stuff in the future. So yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you too.
So in the meantime, True Seekers, keep learning virtues and defeating cities.